Welcome to Speaking on this Unspoken, and I am Chrishawndra Matthews. And today I have a special guest in the studio with me, Ward 5 Precinct Leader, Cleveland's finest, and one of my friends, Cassandra Gordon. And today on the show, we're going to talk about some of the stories, what's going on inside of some of the CMSD schools, what's going on inside of the schools, period, but what's going on with our children, behavior, and the discipline process that the school is using. Welcome.
Welcome. Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. So, speaking on the unspoken, one of the things I really want you to share is just a piece of some of the story that happened. We're not going to disclose the school, but share some of what happened at your daughter's school um, when she was being bullied, and how did the school take care of it, or what did they do, or what they do for you. And let's just talk about that for a second.
Um, well, the process, what they did was when my daughter came to the school in the ninth grade, like she always went to like private or charter schools and stuff. So her last 4 years to get her scholarship, she had to transfer over to Cleveland Public Schools for her 4 year scholarship. Her first year in ninth grade, the whole ninth grade, like fight, and fighting 12th graders. So I'm like, this ain't just fighting. When you continuously fighting the same girl, like it's constantly over and over and over, gangs of kids, different sets of kids, like it's like that's starting to be bullying. For one, they older than y'all. So and y'all new at this school, y'all freshmen. So the school, how they handled it was the same group of kids bullying the whole school system. So come to find out that the kids that was doing the bullying was some kin to a few teachers and principals that was inside of the school. So it really
Pause right
wasn't.
there for a second. Pause just right there. It's funny that you say that, because that same school I tried to get my son in when he was in kindergarten, because I heard such high regards about the school. And when I went through the process, but it's a waiting list to get in that school. And so I went through the process of waiting list, but I didn't realize that the school had a waiting list each year. So every year you got to come back and get on it. And in the meantime, one of my girlfriend's grandchildren was entering kindergarten, and she had a staff member that worked there. I mean, a family member, staff member that actually worked there, and it jumped the line. She
Yeah.
was entered into the school almost immediately.
But you know what, with that as well too, it's like
Who you know?
it was a waiting list. It was a waiting list. For years I tried to get my daughter in that school. Well, not for years, but a few years I tried to get her in that school. And like you said, it was a wait list. We could never get into school. But since COVID happened and systems change and people didn't change, it's no waiting list no more. So now it's an open enrollment. Anybody can enroll for the school now.
Wow. Okay.
So
That says a lot. That helps me understand, because like I said, for a long time, I heard the great statistics about the school. I knew there was a waiting list, but I knew that little bit of bias just personally with my own story when her grandchild was jumped up and entered into the school immediately. I knew if you had a friend or a family member that worked there, it meant something. Also, tell me, did they help you with your daughter in the bullying? Did they advocate for your daughter at any
So
point?
no, but I built a relationship with the school, and what I did, I called the board and I called, who they get their funding from, and
Wow.
I seen what kind of help could I get. I really didn't receive any help. What they did was from it being, because it went from them jumping two of the students to like it's now last year. They have it under control this year, but her ninth grade year it was constant, just fighting, and by the end of the year, I get a call from a mental health specialist um, to talk to my daughter. So I'm like, what this about? So instead of the school calling all the parents together, because when we grew up, if we had a fight or something happened, the first thing was to contact all the parents. We sit down, come up with some solutions for the kids. Some of the kids, if one kid get disciplined, all kids not get disciplined, not just one set and the other, because all kids play a part, whether it's mine, yours. All kids play a part. You know what I'm saying? But how the way the school system handled it was by the end of the school year, before the end of the school year, it was actually only one security guard in the school. So what I did was I talked to a few people that I knew from different organizations to go up and help the school with, securing the school after school, so it makes sure that
you can't just ring that on me like that. So you reached out.
I reached out
to some of your community leaders and asked them to go up to the school and stand up and show some support.
And they sent somebody up there to help. So that kind of helped with the fight just a little bit. They got it under control. But by the end of the school year, like I said, the mental health lady had called to assess my daughter because they told me I had court papers in the mail because the school security indicted 13 kids of the same kids that been bullying the whole school. They indicted all the kids. So now, instead of us going to having a parent-teacher conference or whatever we needed to do before it escalated to that, because they ain't no bad kids. They kids.
Well, let me pause you right there and help you understand. Since Columbine, they have something called zero tolerance. And you are so correct. When we grew up, you probably got suspended. Your parents had to come back to the school. If it was too many altercations, you may have got expelled. Sometimes expelled out of the whole district. Your parents had to find alternatives.
They can't expel kids no more.
Right, but I was just saying prior to Columbine. So since the Columbine shooting and since zero tolerance, and we can Google and go deeper later. But zero tolerance sends your child to have their first number with the Juvenile Justice Center. So instead of depending on the severity of the fight. So since they can say it was numerous fights, that's where they come from to do the indictment. But go ahead. I just wanted to share with you why. And what happened with the indictment?
So they didn't have my correct address. Only way I knew. So I'm calling down there. I done went down there to see what's going on. So they tell me, like, I guess they went from the kids' background, if they've been suspended or if they had, whatever the case may be. They was moving forward with prosecuting them, and the ones who wasn't, like, it was basically, I didn't receive anything, so I didn't even know that my daughter had to go to court. If I didn't talk to this lady, I wouldn't have knew. So now I get a lady my correct address, my correct information. Now, I never received court papers for my daughter to go to court, but I just received in the mailbox a letter saying, turn my daughter in, she have a warrant out for her arrest for that case. So, y'all, I got my address to send that, but y'all didn't, and, like, she's not a troubled kid. Like, she did constantly, these people picking on her constantly, is going back and forth. Now she engaging in it, because she not about to just, she a kid, allow nobody to do nothing. So now she done got this whole demeanor of, and now she in defense mode. So it's like, I don't know.
So I just want to just be clear. So at this point, what is your relationship with the actual principal at the school?
So my actual relationship with the principal, I have a relationship with the principal. In the school, I am an active parent. I'm at every meeting. I'm at every game. I'm at whatever. I'm a parent that's full active inside of the school system. Every teacher had my number. They all call me personally.
So what is nothing that the school could do to help you with these bullying charges or with this case that was brought on?
Actually, the principal resigned from last year. But when I spoke with her, she was one of the kids' relatives. And she was telling me like, oh, I didn't prosecute them. And she act like she didn't have a clue what was going on. So I'm like, now that's what made me start calling where they get their CSU and all of this other stuff, because I'm like, I'm not understanding. I got a mental health lady calling me, but I'm not receiving anything from it. And like, I could see if I had that type of child, you know what I'm saying? But if
So
I'm
you felt
defending
coerced.
myself,
You felt coerced to take a mental health assessment about your daughter while you still waiting on this information to come from court to say whatever this case is going to be about what's going on in juvenile, and nobody haven't sent you anything until they say she got a warrant out for her arrest.
Until she got a warrant out for her arrest. So now, and I just received that about 2 weeks ago, when I told you, like 2 weeks ago, and she was supposed to come back to court August 18th. So I've been going down there once again to see what's going on, and like still no help,
answers.
Still nothing. The teachers, everybody, the school district, everybody acting like they don't know what's going on, why these kids was prosecuted. So they end up, all the kids that did get court papers and go to court, they paid a fine they made them kids pay $95. And threw it out, now it ain't on their record, and this, that, and the third. But why did it go that far anyway without taking the steps before it just go to the system? Why our kids got to go straight to the system?
Right. And that's what I was explaining about Columbine. And that's what I try to help parents understand, to advocate at their children's school about, and talk to them about what is the process. Right now at my son's,
there's no process. They don't have a process.
See, at my son's school right now, they have a conversation that's going on. Are you picking on somebody? Are you teasing somebody? Are you being mean to somebody? Or are you bullying somebody? And all of those have tiers.
But the kids, they don't know that.
Right. But that's why I said it's so important. Like I just said, he happens to go to an all-boys school.
It's in the home.
So now it's
with
right.
the parents.
Right.
So it's escalating from the parents to the school system. And it's making it hard for the school systems. It's making it hard for these teachers to even, because the parents is okay with everything. The parents like, we the ones with the problems. That's the solution to our kids is us. We got to get it together because it's us. The parenting, the households. It was never like this before. We more of our children friend and materialistic versus in their schools. Half of the parents don't even know their kids' teachers' names, the principal names. So when it's like it don't be no parents there, like seriously. And nowadays, to be honest, men are stepping up. You see more men inside of these school systems trying to help out more than us parents, because guess what? We on the grind. We got to go to work. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to provide, but we missing that time with our children. So that's where a lot of it's coming from, because they survivor mode, and this lack of love in a household. So where else to go from? They love me in the streets. They love me out here, so why not go to the streets? Why they feel like they don't have to respect nobody when their parents not making them respect them? There's no balance in the household. Even as a single family, it's still, my mother raised all of us. Balance. You know what I'm saying? As women, we have to learn balance within ourselves and love ourselves and love our children like we love ourselves and love our children like we love these men.
Oh, like, now that, speaking on the unspoken,
love our kids.
Tell the truth.
We have to love our kids, hug them, let them know. See, I'm all in my daughter business. I don't have attitude, care. I don't care.
Amen. That is so important.
I'm in it.
It's so important. And not only is it so important, you spoke of in a relationship. And Gary Chapman wrote the book, The 5 Love Languages. And when you begin to think about your love language with your spouse, do you also know that your children have love languages as well? And when I began to understand my son's love language, he need words of affirmation. He need to be affirmed. I have a different dialogue and a different understanding, because I can go buy him a gift, But he ain't need no gift. He needed me to uplift him and who he was today. And then after I uplifted him and gave him some words of affirmation, then we can go do X, Y, Z.
Right.
So I think it's not only so important when you're trying to date or you have a spouse to understand and speak their love language. I think you need to rewind that clock and take a little time and also understand your children, because it's one of them 5 that they need. Or it might be 2 or 3, because I need a touch of all 5.
Yeah, even us, for real, and even us as grown, like, you know, that's for real. Us as grown men and women, you still want your mother. You still want that love. You still want a hug. You still want to hear, I love you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care how old we get, you still need that and want that. You know, so
I'm working on starting a support group for women, because women suffer in silence so much, especially.
I always talk about that.
We suffer in silence, but they suffer in silence for a lot of reasons, especially as you articulate through your careers. And, you think you reach a certain plateau, or you may think you reached a certain status.
Baby,
or,
you don't reach.
Yes, well, it doesn't stop. Going. Maya Angelou shared that. She said, it's amazing when I meet people and people tell me that they grown. And she said, I sit back and I listen to them. And she said, you are? And she said, no, I'm growing. She said, because once you get grown, you complete. But when you growing, you can continue and learn. And one thing about that, I'm continue growing. I'm continuing learning. So I can't, I don't stop at one point, because you got to leave yourself open to learn more. And as you leave yourself open to learn more, that's that same love, that energy that you pour into your children. But we living in a social media age, and we living in a time when somebody will say, go to your room, and they can play their game, and they can get on the systems and games.
On social media, they show love. They ain't got where the love at.
Yeah, but see, you have to be careful with the social media, because it's a twofold. They show them love on social media, but when they don't get the love, they feel the rejection. So you have to have, like you say, a balance. Yeah, you have to have the balance. It was so deep that Instagram, that's why the like button has changed. It don't say 15,000, it says so-and-so and something liked. It even changed the amount. The numbers still go up, but it changed how they inputted that number, because people were suffering from pure depression when they weren't reaching certain plateaus. Another thing I want to share, a piece of my story. My son started school reading, so when he entered kindergarten, he was the only kindergartner can read. So the teacher would call him to the front and ask him to read the morning message. One, because she was intrigued and she was excited, and for whatever other reason, but she had allowed him to read the morning message. However, when he would get back to the small tables inside of the classroom, the small children at the tables would say things to him like, you not smart, you can't read, you think you smart, you can't read, And for him, he was just excited about going to school. So I began to tear down who he was and his excitement and his joy about reading. So as I reached out to the school, and I sat down with the principal and both the teacher as well. She said she would change some things in the classroom, but it really wasn't that. I really wanted her address with the children so that we can have dialogue and conversation. And then as he began to go to his next class, someone said, get him tested for gifted. But I just wanted to share that to say, if we don't advocate for our children inside of the school, inside of the classroom, they make it part of normal, and they make it just pass it along, and they never actually address it.
Parent committees, they real. And I suggest we really need that inside. That's the only way that it's going to change. That's the only way. Other than that, if they feel like if they don't care, that we could do what we want, because we continuously complain, and nobody stand up.
Yes, and what did you say? The parent, what? Say that name again. What did you?
Parent committees.
Parent committees. Yeah. And where are parent committees?
They inside every school have a parent committee.
So
if they don't got one, you could
start one.
Even if you the only one on it.
Because the schools have what for that? Funding. The schools got funding for the PTA, parent committee. They have funding. But a lot of times, especially in the inner city, That's why I advocate so much for reading. That's why I advocate for parents. That's why I advocate especially for men and boys, because not only are the illiteracy, literacy, and the dyslexia rates inside of the inner city are at an all-time high. And because Cleveland is an arts and sports city, we don't talk about our education statistics. We got few million, $100 million chandelier hanging on Euclid because our art district is number 2. Our art district is number 2 in the country. Now, if you go 3 main streets over to Central, those children can't read at St. Marian Elementary School. So where's our money? And then I'm going to share this with you. It's this theory. It's this theory that I had, Pastor. And this theory say Cleveland had pockets. And you can tell where the pockets at because the money is fluent in the pockets. You know, it's full. You know, fat pockets. Mm-hmm. But you can tell where there's no money at and where there's lint and holes in the pocket because it's big potholes in the street. And the buildings are ran down, and the corner stores are closed. So you can tell where them pockets are full at.
Gas stations there, them Arabs there.
Well, yeah, that's because the Arabs are there because we need gas. Let's be real. I teach this in the community. The Arabs are there because we need gas. They buy white T-shirts every single day. White T-shirts, everything. So the Arabs are there to sell basic needs. I am so sorry in studio. The Arabs are there to fill our everyday basic needs because we also live in food deserts. So it's kind of twofold. So we going to the Arabs. It's so weird you say that. Let's talk about this for another second. Speaking on the Unspoken. It's so weird because when you in the inner city and you want some good fried chicken, I know what you gonna say, but we gonna exclude you. Okay, we're not gonna talk about you though. But 7 out of 10, it's at a gas station. It's at a gas station. I know you're gonna say you don't eat gas station chicken, but I'm just really honestly like, and they have everything in there that you want right away, from a gallon of milk that's upcharged by at least $1.50 to $2, if not more. But everything you need in the basic, your everyday survival kit is at a corner store gas station. So
we need more healthy stuff because guess what? In North, we have the highest cancer rate.
Well, see, now you're an advocate, but see, and you're also a parent ambassador. But see, we need more of you to step up inside of the community. That's why I was so excited to bring you inside of the studio to have those type of conversations. And when you begin to speak about healthy, now you're talking about healthy grocery store choices. You talk about healthy options to have a great school. You're talking about a nice doctor office that you can take your children to. You're talking about a nice park that they're able to play at. You're talking about having a nice home and a nice community. So healthy touches a lot more than just our bellies. You know, because when you got to ride past abandoned buildings and broken downness, guess what? After a while, it starts wearing on your mental. When you don't have no healthy food options, guess what? It starts breaking down on your body. When you don't have no healthy and great options at schools as far as the teachers that's pouring into you and what type of curriculum and resources are available at that school, guess what? It's breaking down on who you are and who you're becoming on your journey to becoming a lifelong learner. So it's so multifaceted and it covers so many areas, which is why I advocate that children should be able to have a quality education no matter what their zip code is. No matter what your zip code is, you should be able to have a great grocery store. Why Heinz didn't take over the grocery store on 40?
Right.
You know, Zagaris is closing on Lee Road, and they said that's soon going to be a Dave's.
Dave's buying it up now.
I mean, well, see, you got to understand is, what do they call that? It's owner-occupied franchise. So then it was Dave's and it was Zagaris. And Miles,
how do community tie into all of these different grocery stores?
Your councilman.
How do that tie in with, like, you know, community building wealth and, You know, like
Yeah, you gotta bring your people out in the community. You gotta get with your councilman. You gotta create a noise. Your state rep in your area. Literacy in the Hood does not endorse any kind that. You gotta get with your state rep in your area, but you gotta create a noise that in your area. This is what we going for, and this is what we not going for. That's how you create. Like, it's so sad. Nobody could advocate for the senior citizens on 156 in Lakeshore. Not only did they close the Dave's supermarket, but they closed the Walgreens across the way. So once again, it talk about going back into communities, a quality grocery store, a quality education, a quality place to live, a quality doctor's office, and a quality place to work and play. How do you get those 5 pillars in any community? And then when you have a child that's in school and they're being bullied, and then we have children in school that just need, how do you reach out and have that help? And why do some schools?
Just not in schools though. Bullying.
It's in the workforce. It's in the community.
Yeah. And it definitely start with social media. A lot of the stuff that, like, when my daughter was going, because she started feeding into it, going back and forth with them, a lot of it was off of social media.
And that's what we go back to, social media.
Back to the school. You know what I'm saying? Or, like, it's just a lot. It's a lot of it.
And then another thing, I heard something that you say as we get ready to close. I want to ask you one more question, but as we get ready to close, I just want to say, let's take back over parenting.
Most definitely.
We pay for the Wi-Fi. We pay for the electricity. We bought the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox Q, all of these systems that's in place. We pay for that. All right. We pay for, a lot of the children got iPhones now. Or
all of them got iPhones.
Okay, so all the children got iPhones. But all of the children have a phone. We pay for all of those different things. So then now, we have to make sure our children read every day for 20 minutes. We have to make sure that not only their homework assignments, but their work assignments are being completed. We have to make sure when we have an open communication line with our children when they come home to feel comfortable enough to let us know what's going on in school so that we can have those open lines of communication open and they can feel comfortable to share so that we can advocate for them in the schools.
We gotta show. We can't just tell them what to do. We need to sit down and read a book for 20 minutes. It ain't just these kids. We need to
create a reading space at home together
with you and your kids.
How can a community find you, Chrishawndra Gordon?
The community can find me. I'm on all social medias. At BU Sisters Foundation.
Spell it.
BEU Sisters Foundation.
And that's Instagram,
Facebook, all social media.
Okay. I want to thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate you sharing, getting a little personal, sharing your story, what's going on with your daughter. I want to thank you for what you do in the community. If you ever want to come back to Kaz Radio TV, you got you a new home that you can come share any of your stories with from any of your platforms, because I know you come from many walks of life and you have a wonderful, tremendous story that I will always love to hear. And with that being said, I want to thank you for being on Speaking with the Unspoken. There's something new that I'm building. I want to have some of the difficult conversations that's going on in the community, and I want to create a platform that's safe in an environment such as this, where we can have those conversations. Thank you for coming out. Follow us, Speaking on the Unspoken, Kaz Radio and TV. Chrishawndra Matthews on social media, Literacy in the Hood on every platform, but Speaking on the Unspoken. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.